All right, we have our PLC and HMI added to our program here. So let's get started. I want to make a basic program to show you two things. I want to show off buttons and I want to show off visualizations. So we are going to make a program that a real button, an actual button, turns on a virtual light. We are also going to make a virtual button turn on a physical light, just to kind of show you that cross back and forth. So I like to start in my PLC and not necessarily completing your program, but at least making your tags. It makes it a little bit easier over here. So let's go and make some PLC tags. It's going to be fairly basic for this program. I have some made. This is from a previous program. We're going to be concerned about the light, and we will be concerned about the start button. So the rest of these, they're in there, but just in there because they're in there from a previous. So we have our physical I/O, right? So we have our physical light, and we have our physical button, which is our start button. So now we need to make those in a virtual space. So coming down here, I'm going to add a new tag. I'm going to type HMI start. Button. And I said HMI start button just because now I know this is the start button and then this is the HMI start button. I'm going to come over here and correctly configure it. I'm going to address it as a memory bit. So it is not a physical input. It is not a physical output. It is a memory bit. I'm going to click memory. Down here, it's just going to grab the next. It will just grab the next one in line. I don't have any memory bits in this program, so I can just call it 0. So start button, memory bit. Now I want to make a HMI light. HMI light. And see here, since the last one I made was a memory bit, it already addressed it. Memory bit, and then it moved to the next one. These are addressed just like these buttons up here. So if I was in factory IO, right, I could put a 10 here and make be 10.1. I can put a 0 here and it's 0.1. So now I made these two tags. Now when I go over to the HMI side, they'll already be there for me to address to. So let's now come down to our HMI. So up here under PLC, we go to PLC and we go to program blocks if we want to program. Down here, we go to HMI and we go to screens. So I can go to my root screen or I can add a new screen. My root screen is this one over here, right? We created it in the beginning. It just made, some generic Siemens stuff. So I put the graphics up there. It put a drop-down menu. It put the time and the date, which we can see, at least over here, it is not correct. We're just going to work on our root screen to complete this, just to get the HMI working. We'll talk about how to switch screens and everything here in a little bit later video. So coming over here, I'm going to first delete this text just to give us a little bit cleaner space to work. Remember, we're going to make a virtual button and a virtual light. So let's start with the button. Over here, under our elements, we have a button. I'm going to click on our button. I'm going to redo that because something didn't seem to... Oh, sorry, there was just a little lag there. I'm going to click on our button and I'm going to drag it over here. So now I have a button, says text. I'm going to call it start. Now that it's over here, I can change the size. I'm going to make it fairly big just for this example. There is a decent amount of lag on it right now. I must have, maybe need to close some things down. It's not happy about that. So remember, like I talked about in the PowerPoint, if we want to get to any of the settings of this button, we double click on it. So down here at the bottom, I am now in the properties of that button. So here I have a bunch of different ones. I have general, appearance, fill, design, layout, text format. So over here, we can see some different options. I can change text when pressed, text when not pressed. So not pressed, it says start. Maybe when it's pressed, it says stop. Bunch of different options here. We want to come down to appearance. And this is where we can change the color. I'm going to make it a green button just because it's a start button, right? Does it have to be green? No. So this over here is the border color, which I can just leave that black. Over here, it's currently set as a gradient. I can make it a solid and make it green. You can change the color of the text, change the text to black. And there we go. We just have a basic button. Work through these, change designs, change the text, change the layout, but that's all personal user preference. The next thing I want to do is come to animation and events. So animation is if I want to change the appearance of the button or the visibility of the button based on a certain event. Maybe when the machine starts, this button goes away, right? So when I push this button, it becomes invisible. Events is what that button actually does. So I'm not concerned about animations right now. Go ahead, test them out. But we just want to make this button work. So I want to when I press this button, I want an action to happen. So I click press, add a function. Here is all of those different settings. I like to live in edit bit. So we can invert bit, reset, set bit. I like set bit while pressed, meaning just like this button right here, when I'm pressing it, it is set. When I let go of it, it is not. So once I hit set bit while pressed, it asks for a tag. So what tag do you want me to manipulate when I am working? So this is where it was nice that we made those tags ahead of time. If I come and hit our three dots here, I can come up here to our PLC tags and I can grab that tag right away. So I can grab HMI start button and there we go. So now our tag is made to a PLC tag. Notice since I made it before, I didn't have to make it there. I could have just made it and created it right on the spot. I just like to make it ahead of time. That way I can just select it out of the list. All right, so there's that button created. If I click out and click back in, I can see set bit while pressed. We are going to manipulate the tag start button. So now let's go ahead and make a light. A light can just be is going to be a visual change. I'm just going to come over here and grab a circle. And I'm going to drag a circle to here. Try to center it a little bit. So here's our light. So our light, a shape, doesn't have any events, right? It's not a button. I can't click it and change states. I still have properties, right? So I can adjust fill color and things like that. I'm going to live in the animations category because I want this to have an animation when a tag is controlled. So I'll be under appearance. I want to change the appearance of it. So I'll click a new appearance. So here it says, what tag do you want to change the appearance of? So I'm going to, just like before, I'm going to hit my PLC and I'm going to do HMI light. So now when HMI light is now looking at HMI light, and according to the value of it, it will change states. So down here, So I want to add a 0 and I want to add a 1, right? Because this is a bool tag, so it can either be 0 or 1. So when this is 0, it is going to be these colors. When it is 1, it is going to be these colors. So I will just leave the background color and the border for 0. I'm going to turn, this is when it's 1, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to make it like a white light, right? So can I grab a white here? I'll leave the border the same and no flashing. Maybe I should, let's just make it a color. Let's make it green. White may be a little hard to tell the difference. So now when this tag is off or at a 0, it'll be gray. When it's on, it'll be green. And that's the setup of that. So we can click out of there and we should be good to go. So that should be our HMI. Let's, before we do our program, because we have to compile and download separately, let's HMI, compile, hardware, software changes. Make sure we have no problems here. And it doesn't look like we do. We have some template issues, but just based on these buttons down here that it put in for us, that's fine. Remember, these yellow triangles are just warnings. They won't prevent you from downloading. So I'm going to come here, download software all. We should see our HMI screen reboot here in a second. We will overwrite all, hit load, and we see our HMI screen rebooting down here. And it should pop up with a screen that looks like the screen we're looking at. So there we go. We see our button and we see our light. All right, now we have our program on there. We have to write our PLC program. I'm going to go ahead and write that off camera here. I will download it and come back to talk about how it is actually working. So I came up here to our PLC, just like writing PLC, ladder logic, structured text, whatever your preference is, came up. I just did it in main OB1 just because I was making 2 lines of code. I drug contacts down. I assigned the tags. I made it here so that a virtual button turns on a physical light and a physical button turns on a virtual light, just to show the back and forth. So I downloaded. I went online. We already downloaded to this HMI. So now we should see if I push the virtual button, that physical light comes on. If I push the physical button, our virtual light comes on. So that's just a little back and forth there. We made a button. We made a light on the HMI just to play around with the events and the animations tabs. Take this as far as you want. Do all of your buttons on an HMI. Do all of your lights on an HMI. Do all of your buttons physical. Just adds that much more options to our stack. One last thing we can notice, since I did set while pressed, remember? So while I'm pressing and holding it, our HMI start button is activated. When I let go of it, it breaks. And we can tell with our HMI light, remember at a 0, this is gray, and at a 1, it is green.